Hi, welcome everyone. This is a quick recap recording of the webinar that I did tonight. The reason why I do a recap recording is because in our session, we have a lot of sharing, and I wanted to make sure that those who were present in the Zoom room, who shared personal things, well, it just stays there. And so here's the recap of Find Your Inner Brave. So I have a couple of rewards that I'm going to send out in email. So if you're watching the recording and you registered, you will see this in your email. People pleasing no more. If you're watching this on YouTube, then you want to email me at connie@conniejacob.com and I will get it right to you. I also can send you my Building Shame Resilience 8 remedies. If you're a brave leader, you're going to need to learn how to be resilient to shame. So I can't wait to send you this. Just want to give you a reminder, whether you're watching this wherever you are, why not take the next 30 minutes and invest in your own leadership? Why not turn off distractions and give yourself this gift of time? I want to give you a very quick win right away. If you are a leader leading anything, if you're a leader leading your home, you're leading children, you're leading your classroom, you're leading a team, or you're leading an idea that you want to get out into the world, I teach this a tune-in process that helps me be brave. And this is where I identify what my thoughts are. First step, when you're thinking about leading brave in where you need to lead brave in right now, what are the thoughts that come to your mind? So, for example, I am leading now something that I used to do and had a not a great experience. I had a negative experience. And the thought that I've had around it is this is going to fail because it failed before. There's an emotion that's attached to that. The emotion for me was embarrassment, humiliation, because it wasn't a good experience. So my thought always has an emotion attached to it. And again, this is just me tuning in and figuring out what is my inner world. And so for you, what emotion is attached to that thought that you're having about what you're needing to lead in? Now, some people find it easier to start with thought. Some people find it easier to name their emotion and then name what does that sound like as a sentence. You get to choose. And the third thing is figuring out what behaviors are coming out as a result. So all of our thoughts and emotions lead to the way we speak and the behaviors that come out of us. And a lot of times we judge ourselves. We don't want to acknowledge maybe some negative behaviors because we're dealing in bad or good. I want you to push that aside and start to get curious about what is leading me to this behavior instead of judging it, instead of pushing it aside, because those thoughts and emotions and behaviors have a perception to it. Your perception has been built around the experiences of your life. The things that have happened to you, the things that have happened for you in your life have formed your perception. Being aware of all this allows you to see what your barriers are. So a lot of times leaders, it's brave to face our barriers. It's brave to face our thoughts and our emotions, our behaviors, our inner world. But a leader who can lead themselves first can be comfortable to lead others who are having their own experiences, their own thoughts, their own emotions, their own behaviors. And the more comfortable I am with attuning into myself, the more comfortable I can be with attuning to somebody else's. Now, their emotion of anger doesn't scare me. It's just what they feel. How many of you have found that leading others is not linear? It's not about getting that student from A to B. There's a lot of dips, there's a lot of turns, there's a lot of things that go on in the middle. It's messy. Leading people is messy. Leading ourselves is messy. And so when we can see our own barriers, we're more comfortable with others and we can lead them more gently. I want to remind you that you can do this. You can lead others. You can lead that idea. You can get yourself out there. But what we need are some tools. And so what I want to do is maybe share with you a little bit of the time when I didn't think I had what it took to lead Brave at all. I was always feeling fear, unmotivated, discouraged. And so what I would do is my behaviors, I would distract myself and I would withdraw from what I really cared about. The good news is that I've, through growth, have realized that my worth doesn't come from how I perform as a leader. My worth doesn't come from whether the people I lead or not are moving forward, or whether that student is excelling, or whether my children are living up to whatever I thought they would be doing. Your worth doesn't come from what you do. And now I actually feel a lot of joy and freedom as I'm starting to step into even more things that I'm passionate about. And I realize that moving towards our dreams means taking things just day by day. So, a little bit about me for those who don't know me. I've been working in mental health and resilience for the last 25 years, and I've led in all kinds of different facets. I have led businesses, I've started three, I've led a nationwide nonprofit that I started. I have led myself to my entrepreneurial efforts in writing books and producing theater. I've also been a pastor of churches. And so, therefore, I have a lot of interesting different experiences. This last week, I was at one of my friends, Jenna. She has started this company called Fledge, and it is a mental health app for early elementary. It's about to expand into other ages as well, but that's where they're starting. And they had a guest speaker when they were presenting this idea to educators, and he said something that compelled me. This was a statement that he made. To be bold and courageous is the only way to build great things. And so, what I want to do in this quick recap is I want to give you some tools and strategies to be able to build something great, something that is in your heart to build. And so, I have created 6 pillars of a brave leader. These are 6 things that I've noticed create bravery in me. And what I've noticed creates bravery in people who I respect as leaders. Number one, they're free from intimidation. They're free from comparison and perfectionism. They have those shame resilient skills. They work on themselves first. They're not trying to fix others. They're actually working on managing themselves first. They're able to make meaningful connections with other people, and they're able to create when there's no budget. They're able to create something from nothing. They create from constraint. And so, what we're going to cover in this quick recap is basically an overview of how do we get to those 6 pillars? Well, number one, we need to be aligned. There needs to be a level of confidence that we feel. We need to feel connected, and we need to find out how we are original. And so that's what I'm going to walk you through. And then at the end, I'm going to share with you how you could work with me further if you're needing to refine some of these skills. And so the first one is being aligned. I don't know if you've ever in your life felt like you're misaligned. It can feel very wobbly. It can feel awkward. It can feel like you're driving a standard and you don't know how to drive a standard. Urge, start and stop, it doesn't feel quite right. But when we are aligned, it feels like ease. It's still hard work, still not easy, but it feels more like coasting along the river on a nice inner tube on a hot, sunny day. I want to tell you a story. I wonder if I'm even wearing the same coat as I am right there. I want to tell you a story about a time when I believed what everybody was telling me success should look like. I had entered a contest, and the prize was to go and meet this gentleman that you see in the picture, Tony Robbins, to be able to have this VIP experience with him in Toronto. And I am from Calgary. And it was a speaking competition, and it started with around 500 people, and then I made it to the top 30. And then I made it to the top 6. And we were supposed to give a speech for 1 minute 30, give the speech of your life, and then the audience would choose who the winner would be. Well, guess what? I was one of the winners. There was a tie. They actually couldn't decide between this beautiful lady, Sandra, and myself. And so they said, oh, fine, you both get to go. And so I got to go to Tony Robbins. And what was so interesting was all the people in the room who were betting their life on whether they won this or not. And I remember looking around thinking, this is how people are defining success for themselves. They want to be the next Tony Robbins. They want to be the one who speaks in front of thousands. And for a while there, I thought that that's what I wanted too. But something didn't feel aligned. And as much as I loved this VIP experience, let me tell you, the next day, I ended up going around Toronto with this gentleman. This was my youth leader growing up. And when I was growing up, he would take us to the local mission where we would serve people who were experiencing homelessness. When he moved out to Toronto to start a mission on Yonge Street, I remember flying out and walking with him up and down Yonge Street and Dundas. And he knew every drug dealer's name. He knew every person experiencing homelessness. He knew their name. And this contrast of experiences spoke to me. What the world was telling me I should be wanting in success, being the one who gets to win, to go and have this VIP experience with Tony Robbins, actually didn't seem to fit me very well. It didn't make me feel as alive as when I was walking down the street talking to people who needed support, who needed help. This made me feel alive. And so, my question to you is, what makes you feel alive? It doesn't have to be what everybody else tells you it should be. It's not maybe starting that huge company. Maybe it's just having coffee with people and helping people, listening. A lot of times we have to empty out the voices of what everybody else is telling you it should look like and really see what it looks like for you. The second one is confidence. Everybody wants to be more confident. And there's a lot of strategies to becoming confident, but I find that when I try to apply them, I come out short. Here's what I've done instead. I pay attention to those warning signals that we started this session with. I pay attention to what thoughts are going through my mind because they're swimming in my subconscious. And if I'm not feeling confident, there's a thought attached to that, and there's an emotion attached to that. It's probably not that you need to stand up straighter or just believe in yourself more. I think we just need to be more connected inside. When I pay attention to my warning signals, what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, how I'm behaving, what behaviors are coming out, if I'm nervous, instead of saying, oh, I shouldn't be nervous, or here's ways to combat my nervousness, I actually want to figure out and get curious about what is that trying to tell me? And the more self-aware and reflective I am and I've become, the more confident I feel. I don't feel like I have to show up on this quick recap for you with perfection as a belt of honor. I feel like I can show up fully me. I have thoughts and emotions and behaviors that probably aren't great, but I notice them and they're my barriers and I'm working on them. And so I find that gives me great confidence. I want to give you a couple of tips on how to let go of a need for approval. A lot of times we have an idea of whose approval we really want to have. I'm a sucker for wanting the approval of people who I'll never get approval from. I think I like the challenge. It's almost like, look at me, see me. Yeah, like and if I don't get your approval, I'm going to try harder to get the approval. And I realized that was quite a cycle that I was in. What I have done in the last couple of years is I've really shifted to deciding whose opinion actually matters to me. I'll tell you whose opinions matter to me. My family's opinion matters to me. When my husband or my boys tell me that I'm, maybe not being very nice or I'm working too hard, they're probably right because they are my trusted inner circle. Friends who have either been my friend for years or know my good side, but also my bad side. When they love me for both of those sides of Connie and they want what's best for me, well, I've decided that their opinion matters to me. And like Brene Brown says, I I will listen to a person who's in the arena with me, But if you're not in the arena and you're not being brave with your life, I've decided that that person's opinion doesn't matter to me. I've also had to say a brave goodbye to people who are causing me those warning signals. Now, I'm not ever going to say that you make me feel anxious. That's not completely correct. I am deciding how I'm going to respond, but some environments will actually keep your anxiety at a height, or it will increase that warning signal. And if you remove yourself from that environment, you might find yourself not having to struggle with those thoughts and emotions and behaviors any longer. Sometimes saying a brave goodbye means leaving a comfortable job. I have done this. I have left comfortable jobs that have paid me a wage to be able to feel more aligned. Scary, yes, but I'll tell you, the freedom on the other side it's worth it. Sometimes that is the bravest thing you could ever do, or walking away from a relationship that's keeping you in those cycles. I call it a brave goodbye because those kinds of goodbyes that are causing you these warning signals, to say goodbye is going to be very brave. Reminding yourself of who you are and the strengths that have risen from your struggle. When you know who you are and you know what strengths you have earned and that are now inside of you that no one can take, no one can take these strengths that have been forged in the fires of your life. I don't need the approval of somebody else. I have been the victor. I have run the race. I have passed the ribbon and I have won the prize of the gold that has been established in me through the fires of struggle. I don't need your approval at that point. Connected is the third one. A lot of people will say, I'm struggling with imposter syndrome. Well, I want to ask you a series of questions to maybe prove that, you're probably not an imposter unless you're a con artist listening to this. Number one, do you pretend to be someone else? And what I mean by that is are you actually trying to be someone else? Do I walk into the airport and pretend to be a pilot and not know how to drive a plane? No, I don't. Now, I will adjust myself to fit in certain environments, like a classy event. Probably won't break dance in that in particular environment. I'm not pretending to be someone else. I'm adapting to my environment. You do that too. That's different than pretending to be someone else. I highly doubt you're doing that. I also highly doubt that you're pretending to have skills that you don't have. For example, me putting out there that I could tutor someone in grade 12 math. That will not ever happen. You are probably stepping out and using the skills that you actually have. Do any of you slack off and do nothing? Have you done nothing to get where you are right now? No, you've done something to get where you are right now. You've grown, you've changed, you've adapted, you've moved forward in your life. And that didn't come by you just sitting around and saying, Jesus, take the wheel and singing with Carrie Underwood. No, you've done something. An imposter would just let their life pass by and ride the waves behind somebody else, but not you. You haven't done that. And have you ever learned a lesson in your life? Sure, you have. An imposter hasn't learned anything. They're just learning from others, but you've learned things. And this is why you're probably not an imposter. An imposter syndrome means that you have this inability to believe that you actually deserve what you've achieved. So when you answer those questions, you realize, wait a minute, no, I have achieved these things. This is not false. Where's the evidence that you're an imposter? I doubt you'll find it. And the last one is, are you original? And this is about finding your inner creativity. A lot of times people say, just be you, but a lot of people don't know how to do that. And so here's some questions, and I would highly encourage you to come back to that first question that we asked in the aligned section of what makes you feel alive. Don't let that pass you by. Come back to that when you have some time and maybe even journal it or even pause right now. Press pause on this video and take a moment, set your timer for 3 minutes and just Give yourself a brain dump where you just write out everything you can think of. A lot of times we're not aligned and we're not really finding out who we are because we don't give ourselves that gift of time. These are some other questions you can ask yourself. What do you do that's unique? Or who you are? What about you is unique? Not everybody is a 50-year-old breakdancer. Well, there you go. That's unique to me. I even created a unique way to teach kids mental health and resilience in schools through dance. That's unique to me. What strengths have risen from your struggle? I know in my struggles, I've learned that I'm brave. I show up when it's hard. I love people better. I love them without walls. I forgive when it hurts. I learned those things through struggle. Well, so what strengths have risen through your struggle? What pivotal moments have shaped who you are? What did you learn? These pivotal moments of your life. I'm talking about the big moments that you remember where you're like, in that moment, I learned something. I was changed in that moment. And what do people say about you? Maybe ask your friends, when you think of me, what do you think about? Because this is what makes you you. And again, I would encourage you, if you have time right now, press pause and again, just set your timer. You don't have to journal this for hours. Just give yourself a gift of concentrated time. See what you come up with. I was at a really interesting event where we went to see how guide dogs are trained right from when they are young. And guide dogs meaning that they help people with disabilities or people who need assistance. And this was a term that came up: intelligent disobedience. These dogs, when they get to be trained, they they will intelligently disobey their master if their master isn't doing something that is good for them. So this dog will think, I know what's best for this master, and and I will disobey if I have to. And I wonder how many of us need to intelligently disobey some of the rules that we've been taught in our life. Some of the rules that are actually meant to be broken so that we can be creative. If you find yourself asking, why does it have to be done that way? What reason is there that I need to do it that way? Well, that's a great question to ask. This is where you find your creativity. You find out that you can create from constraint. The piano only has 12 white keys and a few black ones in between, and there's a couple of octaves, but you think about how many musical compositions have been created from just 12 keys. That's constraint. How can you be intelligently disobedient to some of the limitations that you or others have put on you? I want to remind you that you are brave. A lot of times we just need the right skills to live it. And what I would love to do is I've given you a little taste of how I walk people through, how I walk leaders through being brave. I would love to share with you how I can work further with you because I love walking alongside leaders, teachers, parents who want to be brave. I have an inner circle for people like you, brave leaders. And what I do in this inner circle is I teach these 6 pillars of a brave leader. I teach you how to be free from intimidation, how to be free from comparison and perfectionism, how to build those shame resilient skills, how to manage yourself first, how to make those meaningful connections, and how to create great things from constraint. I want to introduce you to Nola because you might wonder, well, have you even worked with anybody? Well, Nola and her husband run a nonprofit that it reaches across my nation of Canada. But I love what she writes here. She says, Connie spoke to places deep within myself that called out for more, to find purpose in life, cultivating joy and intentions in connections, and knowing that I was made for more, that what I was living, I was just living to exist and only in survival mode. And I have to say, what a difference I saw in Nola in our coaching time. So you might wonder, well, what's included? What do you do in this inner circle? Well, what I do is I do 5 group coaching sessions. And then what I do is I give you free access to my online Brave Belonging course so that you can find that deep rooted inner belonging inside. I also give an option to do one on one coaching because sometimes, and I will say a lot of times, what we don't need is more information. We need more process. We need more opportunity to be able to process what we're learning. And that's what these one on one coaching sessions can do for you. And the last thing I do is I give you access to my community chat with other people who are on the same brave journey, which can give you encouragement to know that you're not alone. What I've done is I've put the value beside each one of these. Now, this is not the price. The price of all of these added up is $2,800. I don't charge that. I'm going to share with you how much I do charge. But before I do, I want you to meet my friend, Teresa. Teresa is an incredible leader who has not only been leading her family so bravely, but she has great plans to lead a movement and a business to be able to help step parents and blended families and families who have broken up. And I loved what she said here. She said, Connie had great insights. She asked thoughtful questions that encouraged my self discovery. And that is what I love because it's not about what I'm going to say, it's actually more about what I'm going to pull out of you. Her communication style was clear, compassionate, non judgmental, fostering that sense of trust. And she had a strong commitment to my personal development and success. And I'm very thankful that she felt that because that is very much my goal when I coach someone is your success. And what does that look like for you? And so, what do I charge? Well, I either group coaching sessions only, those are only $397. I only do this once a year. And I wanted to make it accessible for anybody to be able to access. And so the group coaching sessions is $397. And this little QR code actually takes you right to the page where you can pay online. You can use your credit card and it's just super easy. Option B is that one-on-one coaching sessions. Those are 6 sessions for $1,200. And what I do is I throw in that Brave Belonging course and the group coaching as an add-on, as a free add-on. Now, this QR code goes to that landing page that gives you access to pay, but it also gives you an option to have a payment plan. I love to reward people who know what they need. I will tell you that I have rarely gone through my life without having a mentor or a coach or someone I know who has the skills that I need in that season of my life. And so if you are feeling like, yes, I need these skills to lead what I'm leading now. Well, if you sign up now, I'll give you access to my Building a Brave Business online modules, which is 9 modules, which I normally charge $597 for. I also want to share just very briefly here before we close my friend Brandy. Connie helped me prioritize wellness so that I could build without sacrificing my health. How many leaders are building and sacrificing their health? She helped me dream despite disappointment and believing that big things are still possible. I love Brandy. She's an educator, she's an igniter, she's a speaker, and I love that that's what she received from our coaching. So I promised you that I would send you these 2 free resources. If you would like those, and you're watching on YouTube, you just email me, Connie@conniejacob.com. You can see it at the bottom corner. That's my email. Just say, please send me the people pleasing no more and send me building shame resilience, and I will send those off to you. But again, here's the QR codes. I love helping people who want to be brave with their life. I do want to remind you that that bravery is already there in you. We just need to pull out the skills. You have what it takes to do this. Thanks so much for joining me, and I hope that you're taking away something that was valuable.